haven't you done any interviews in the past few years?
Because I hate them.
Why?
I just hate them. I hate talking to people I don't really know. I don't talk to everybody, so I don't really know.
Freddie Mercury left the world countless immortal melodies. But his greatest secret lay in the silence of his final days. Behind the dazzling spotlight and explosive performances before tens of thousands of people was a quiet struggle to shield his family from the harsh judgment of public opinion. The old Garden Lodge mansion became the setting for deeply moving final moments where love was expressed through protection rather than loud declarations. What was the truth behind those fateful hours?
I was in the kitchen with him, having a cup of tea, and he actually made me a cup of tea. And Fred couldn't make tea. It was terrible. And sort of sat there and said, look, it's full-blown, and I wanted to tell you myself.
In early November 1991, Freddie Mercury returned to Garden Lodge in Kensington after a trip to Switzerland. His body had been severely weakened by health complications. The singer decided to stop all forms of intensive medical treatment. He used only morphine to control his physical pain, deliberately taking command of his final days. During this period, the former Queen frontman focused on his private surroundings. He walked down the mansion's staircase for the last time to look at his collection of Japanese art. Asian antiques had long been a passion of the gifted vocalist. Looking at them became an act of preserving memories before his life became confined to a sickbed. The London mansion remained quiet, with care, provided by those closest to him. Mercury maintained a private household routine and kept media interference to an absolute minimum. A few days before he took his final breath, the music legend's immediate family came to visit. By then, the artist's health had become extremely fragile, and he could no longer move on his own. The atmosphere during the family gathering was governed by a careful unspoken rule. Rather than speaking about his own condition, the rock star focused his attention on his loved ones. He asked about his parents' health and worried that the press might harass them. Seeing the grief of the people who had given him life, the singer reassured them with calmness. He told his family not to worry about Farouk, because everything would eventually be all right. The former Queen frontman's choice of silence was intended to protect his family. His family followed the traditional Zoroastrian faith with very strict standards of conduct. Gerbil Sara shared that her son protected the family by refusing to discuss his illness directly. That decision helped his loved ones preserve a sense of peace in the face of public scrutiny. That silent protection became the final message the artist left behind. Family affection endured through mutual understanding without any need for dramatic declarations. On the evening of the 23rd, an official statement was released. His manager, Roxy Mead, spoke on the singer's behalf and delivered a prepared message to the public. Mercury's public statement read, "Following the enormous conjecture in the press over the last 2 weeks, I wish to confirm that I have been tested HIV positive and have AIDS." The singer stressed that he had previously kept the information private in order to protect the privacy of those around him. He called on friends and fans around the world to join the fight against the disease. Making the information public helped relieve the pressure weighing on his loved ones. The decision to speak protected his family from baseless speculation in the media. The press release brought an end to the relentless questions that had surrounded him. International public opinion began to view the situation with sympathy and widespread compassion. In the early hours of November 24th, the gifted vocalist's health declined rapidly. At around 6 in the morning, he whispered a personal request to Jim Hutton. The singer was helped to move while suffering severe physical pain. After that moment, he gradually slipped into a deep coma as his exhausted body began to fail. That same day, Freddie Mercury died at Garden Lodge. The cause of death was identified as bronchial pneumonia, a complication of AIDS. The gates of Garden Lodge immediately became the focus of intense media attention and an outpouring from fans. Major upheavals surrounding his estate soon began to emerge. A divisive will.
They were planning a big musical event dedicated to their lead singer, Freddie Mercury, who died last night of AIDS. There have been tributes to his talent and his courage from friends and from fans.
A divisive will. After Freddie Mercury's death, the contents of the singer's official will were made public, creating profound changes in the lives of those who remained in London. The music star decided to leave Garden Lodge along with 50% of the future income from his music royalties to Mary Austin, his longtime confidant and closest companion. The remainder of the commercial estate was divided equally among his immediate family, with his parents receiving 25% and his sister, Kashmira Bulsara, inheriting 25% of the music royalty value. The close associates who had supported his daily life, including Jim Hutton, Peter Freestone, and Joe Finelli, each inherited a fixed sum of $500,000. The division of the estate reflected the gifted vocalist's absolute trust in Mary Austin to preserve, manage, and protect his personal artistic legacy. A short time after the funeral, tensions began to develop when Mary Austin asked Jim Hutton and the entire household staff to leave the Kensington mansion. Although deeply hurt by having to leave the home he had known for many years, Jim Hutton accepted the decision in order to preserve the stability the former Queen frontman had originally wanted. The artist's cremation was held privately at Kensal Green Cemetery in London, in accordance with the sacred traditional rites of the Zoroastrian faith. Following Mercury's special wishes during his lifetime, he entrusted Mary Austin with complete responsibility for deciding where his ashes would be kept, under strict instructions that the location remain secret. The singer was deeply concerned that his private resting place might become the focus of excessive attention or be disturbed if information about the burial site leaked to the media. The secret of the music legend's final resting place remained completely protected for more than 3 decades, creating intense curiosity among the global public. Even the surviving members of Queen and the singer's own parents were not told the exact location of his ashes. The gifted vocalist's death left his parents with a silent grief during the long years in which they faced the reality of their son's absence in London. Bomi Bulsara expressed profound shock at the enormity of the loss and revealed the anguish of watching a talented son die before his parents. Although carrying an immense emotional burden, the family maintained its dignity and refused to participate in media disputes, protecting the former Queen frontman's honor. In September 2023, Mary Austin decided to work with the prestigious auction house Sotheby's to organize a series of public events titled A World of His Own. More than 500 valuable personal possessions connected to the artist's life at Garden Lodge were offered at public auction, bringing in a total sum far exceeding $40 million. A significant portion of the proceeds from the large-scale auction was donated directly to the Mercury Phoenix Trust and to the International AIDS Foundation established by singer Elton John. The enthusiastic public response to the archived works demonstrated that Mercury's artistic legacy continued to live across generations. Before their deaths, Bomi Bulsara in 2003 and Jer Bulsara in 2016 both spoke with great respect about their son's extraordinary career. Jer Bulsara once affirmed that her son's exceptional musical contributions had brought joy and immense spiritual value to millions of listeners around the world. The family accepted the artist's death as part of fate and always preserved their pride in a life devoted completely to popular music. The rock star's legacy continues to be protected through meaningful charitable work and timeless musical achievements that have retained their value. Understanding the structure of his estate and the relationships behind the scenes, also casts new light on the former Queen frontman's earlier decisions during the height of his fame. Dazzling glory. In the early 1970s, Freddie Mercury began gradually building the extraordinary musical career he would share with the members of Queen in London, England. During this ambitious period, the singer quickly formed an exceptionally deep and enduring romantic relationship with Mary Austin after they first met in 1969. The couple soon became engaged and lived together for many years in London, creating an extraordinarily strong emotional foundation for the gifted vocalist during the early stages of his career. In 1975, the timeless masterpiece Bohemian Rhapsody was officially released to the global public, creating a spectacular commercial breakthrough and lifting the band to international superstardom. During this same period of artistic triumph, Mercury personally wrote the immortal ballad Love of My Life as a sacred expression of affection, intended especially for Mary Austin. In 1976, the former Queen frontman made the courageous decision to speak openly and sincerely with Mary Austin about his new understanding of his true sexual identity. Although they decided to cancel their plans for marriage, the two maintained an enduring bond as soulmates and a profound emotional connection that went far beyond an ordinary romantic relationship. Queen's lead singer once publicly stated that none of the lovers who entered his life could ever replace Mary Austin's special place. From 1979 to 1984, Mercury chose Munich, Germany, as his primary home and concentrated on recording new music with the band. In this lively and restless European city, the artist immersed himself in the uninhibited nightlife of clubs created for the gay community at the time. His free and intense lifestyle in Munich stood in stark contrast to the traditional upbringing and Zoroastrian faith that the Bulsara family had carefully preserved for generations. Whenever he returned to his parents' warm home in Feltham, the music star immediately resumed the role of a thoughtful son, dressing neatly and respectfully while maintaining impeccable manners. He never brought friends from his party life into the family's private space, determined to preserve complete peace for his parents. The clear separation between the noisy entertainment world outside and his parents' home reflected the singer's sense of responsibility and his deep desire to protect his family. In a public interview in 1985, Mercury confessed, "You can have everything in the world and still be the loneliest man." This candid statement revealed the immense emotional emptiness behind the thunderous cheers of tens of thousands of listeners across the world's greatest music stages. On July 13, 1985, the global charity concert Live Aid took place at Wembley Stadium in London, bringing together numerous legends. Queen's explosive performance, lasting exactly 21 minutes, became a historic moment that confirmed the singer's unmatched and extraordinary command of the stage. The balance between the dazzling public icon and the withdrawn private individual became increasingly fragile for the gifted artist. Signs of instability in his personal life gradually appeared, warning of major upheavals quietly gathering behind the brilliance of the stage. Silently, behind those magnificent musical achievements, a dark cloud of tragedy began to cast a severe shadow over the former Queen frontman's private life. The silent battle. In August 1986, Queen's international Magic Tour officially ended at Knebworth Park before a live audience of more than 120,000 passionate fans. The massive concert marked Freddie Mercury's final live stage performance with his bandmates during their celebrated career around the world. By the spring of 1987, the singer received an official medical diagnosis, confirming that he had contracted a devastating and life-threatening immune deficiency infection. The global social climate of the 1980s was defined by severe prejudice and fierce public discrimination against people living with this terrible disease. Fully aware of the crushing pressure from public opinion, the former Queen frontman chose to establish an extremely strict and carefully controlled circle of personal secrecy. The music star shared his private medical truth only with a small group of trusted people, including Mary Austin, Jim Hutton, Peter Freestone, and Joe Finelli. The remaining members of Queen Brian May Roger Taylor and John Deacon were also fully informed so they could make plans for future work together. Meanwhile, the British tabloid press, particularly The Sun, repeatedly stationed photographers around the Kensington mansion in London day and night. Paparazzi tried every possible way to capture images of the singer's severe weight loss and dramatic physical decline in order to publish sensational stories for profit. To protect his family completely from relentless press harassment, Mercury and his management team firmly denied every malicious rumor appearing in newspapers. The singer accepted accusations of dishonesty from the public in order to prevent his parents from falling into a state of profound emotional crisis and pain. The gifted vocalist withdrew all artistic activity into the privacy of the recording studio, concentrating every remaining ounce of strength on writing and recording new music. The Miracle, released in 1989, and Innuendo, released in 1991, were the results of his tireless efforts while enduring persistent physical pain every day. Brian May's official recollections confirm that even when his health had deteriorated so severely that he could barely stand, the former Queen frontman still produced a voice of extraordinary power and force. Every high note recorded in the studio became evidence of the singer's resilient artistic discipline and intense devotion to popular music. Throughout the period in which he quietly fought a life-threatening illness, the rock star refused to discuss his medical condition directly with his parents. Bomi Bulsara and Jer Bulsara were traditional followers of the Zoroastrian faith, known for their extremely private, disciplined, and careful way of life. Mercury understood clearly that revealing the medical truth would expose his parents to crushing pressure from the social condemnation of that era. Although they could see the obvious physical destruction in their son during private visits, his parents chose to respect his complete silence. The unspoken understanding among family members allowed them to preserve warmth and dignity, while public storms surrounded the world outside their home. That quiet sacrifice reflected the thoughtfulness and deep love he always carried for his immediate family, under every harsh circumstance. The inner conflict and resilient endurance of this difficult period created a firm foundation for the artist's historic decisions that followed. The boundary between keeping a personal secret and accepting responsibility toward the wider community began to shift as the singer's health reached its final limit. The roots of that responsibility and quiet sacrifice had been planted firmly in the earliest days of the gifted artist's life. Cultural roots. On September 5, 1946, Freddie Mercury was born in Stonetown on the East African island of Zanzibar under the familiar birth name Farrokh Bulsara. His family belonged to the Parsi community that had migrated from India to Zanzibar, carrying with them a deeply ancient, disciplined, private, and proud tradition of Zoroastrian faith. His father, Bomi Bulsara, was a hard-working accountant employed by the local British Colonial Office, and his gentle mother was Jer Bulsara. He also had a younger sister, Kashmira Bulsara. From the beginning, the family environment was shaped by the strict moral values of Zoroastrianism, guided by the enduring philosophy of good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. The ancient Zoroastrian cultural foundation emphasized self-discipline, complete discretion, and family responsibility, leaving deep marks on the character of the young Farrokh. In 1954, his family decided to send him to study at the renowned St. Peter's boarding school in Panchgani, India, beginning a long period away from home. At the prestigious boarding school, the boy began using the familiar name Freddie to adapt more easily to his classmates and the British-style educational environment. At the age of 12, Mercury formed his first school band, the Hectics. taking the role of pianist in the teenage group. This period revealed a striking contrast in his personality. In everyday life, he was extremely shy because of his insecurity about his appearance and the additional teeth he had been born with, which always attracted attention. Once he touched the piano keys and entered the world of music, the boy immediately displayed explosive energy and a confidence completely different from his usual reserve. In 1964, a revolutionary political uprising in Zanzibar forced the Bulsara family to abandon all the possessions they had accumulated and urgently flee to England in search of safety. The family settled in Feltham, Middlesex, where their new life in Britain was marked by many difficulties and financial hardship. The young man began studying graphic design at the prestigious Ealing Art College in London, where his sharp visual instincts and rich creative imagination were further developed. This professional artistic foundation eventually bore fruit when he personally designed the famous Queen crest emblem for the future iconic British band. This period marked an important historic turning point when he legally changed his name to Freddie Mercury, symbolizing the birth of an entirely new artistic identity. In April 1970, he officially joined the band Smile with Brian May and Roger Taylor, proposing that the group change its name to Queen and beginning a brilliant new musical era. The creation of the Mercury identity was not an act of rejecting the roots of Farrokh Bulsara. It was a way for him to build a protective shield around his family's private life. The new name allowed the artist to move freely through the cathedral of popular music without disturbing the quiet world of his traditional Zoroastrian family. His deep Asian cultural roots and the unconditional love of his parents remained a silent emotional anchor throughout the turbulent life of the gifted former Queen frontman. That profound respect for his origins explains why the artist remained so determined to shield his family from public storms throughout his years in London. Freddie Mercury's life journey came to an end, but the love and silent protection he gave his family remain forever as a moving low note behind the brilliance of his fame. That silence was not distance. It was the strongest armor a son could build to protect the people he loved from the storms of life. If today's story has given you deeper insight and emotion about this great rock legend, please give the video a like and share to help spread these artistic values and the beauty of family love. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell so you will not miss the next fascinating music stories. How do you feel about Freddie Mercury's silent final message to his parents? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below so we can discuss them together. Thank you for watching, goodbye, and see you again in future videos.